Well, hey there, everyone. I'm meteorologist Hannah Fink, and today we're going to be talking about a weather event known as nor'easters. If you've been paying attention to social media or if you have friends and family along the East Coast, I'm sure you've heard about this. It is an impactful and powerful storm that often affects the East Coast during the colder months. We'll look at how they form, what they do, and why they are so impactful. Another thing I did want to know is images as well as diagrams are taken from NOAA's National Environmental Satellite Data and Information Services, and some of the information as well that I'm going to be explaining is taken from there as well to give you a better idea and better understanding of what exactly a nor'easter is. So let's get right into it. So nor'easter is a type of storm that gets its name from the direction of the wind. They blow from the northeast, and these storms form along the East Coast and can bring a mix of heavy snow, rain, and very strong winds. Now, one thing I did want to point out, I showed these two images because another thing that gets really confused with nor'easters is that people believe they're tropical storms or hurricanes. Well, they are not. They are completely different. They form differently. One thing with hurricanes that is a big indicator of a difference is hurricanes can form in the Atlantic and move and strengthen. Nor'easters form along specifically the East Coast and bring those impacts such as snow and rain. So the image on the left here, that is a nor'easter. And then the image on the right, that is a hurricane. So one thing about hurricanes, it looks like it's closed. If you see that image on the left, you can kind of see what we call a dry slot, that area where you can see the ocean. That is known as a dry slot going into the center. That center is a low pressure, and it is circulating into it. Then there's the hurricane. Yes, it's a low pressure system as well that becomes organized and fully circulating, but there's different parameters, different ingredients that go into both. But a nor'easter specifically forms along the East Coast and is not fully closed like a hurricane looks in this picture. You can see how it's circulating almost around one thing, bringing something into it. A hurricane is just one spinning blob, as you would say. So nor'easters, how do they form? Well, they form when cold Arctic air meets warm, moist air over the Atlantic. This creates an area of low pressure that intensifies quickly, feeding on ocean moisture to produce heavy snow or rain. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into it, but that's kind of the easiest way to explain it because you can look at jet streams as well that also help with it. Those are things we all look at and use for ingredients for a nor'easter. They usually occur during the colder months, mainly late fall through early spring. The storms tend to move up the coastline, often affecting major cities along the I-95 corridor. So we say colder months, we see these typically start forming around September until about April. We're in October right now, so this is the first one we are seeing of the 2025 season. And this diagram kind of helps better explain what I was getting at the last time, where hurricanes form and they kind of move into the Atlantic or through the Atlantic into the Gulf, etc. Well, you see how there's a big orange area. That is usually where hurricanes form, how they move, etc. And that blue area is where nor'easters usually form. So you can see there's a lot smaller gradient there compared to the orange because they specifically only form on the East Coast. So that is one thing that is important to note. Another thing is we're going to refer to this as a winter storm. It can be referred to as a winter storm phenomena, and that's because usually they're more intense or more severe during the winter months. So yes, they usually occur during the colder months, mainly late fall, like I had mentioned, and they can cause wide range of impacts. Snow, wind, flooding, and beach erosion are all common with this kind of storm. For inland areas, blizzard conditions are possible, while coastal communities may see flooding and power outages and the obvious rip current risks. Now, some of the biggest historical storms that happen due to a nor'easter are some major blizzards that happened along the East Coast. This is snowfall from January 2015 nor'easter in Watertown, Massachusetts, and there is the credit for it there as well. So there are some forecasting challenges that come with nor'easters. These storms can be a little bit tricky, mainly to track as where it's moving or how it's going to impact certain areas. Just a 50-mile range can change A 50-mile track can change mainly where things such as rain or snow can affect a certain city. So what it really means is rain for one city and a foot of snow for another can be two different categories or two different impacts. So that's another thing we consider. That's why meteorologists use several models to fine-tune forecasts. Overall, in summary, nor'easters are among the most powerful winter storms on the East Coast. Understanding how they form and what they do help us prepare for their impacts and stay safe. So meteorologists along the East Coast, this is something they study a lot more than we do here along the Gulf Coast. We are not typically affected by nor'easters because they're typically more up the East Coast compared to like the Georgia area. We can see certain rain bands from things that happen in there, but for the most part, this is not something we are usually concerned with on the Gulf Coast or ever concerned with that matter of fact. But it is something to talk about, and it is something important to note because it can be confused with things going on during the tropical seasons, which we are still in. We are in hurricane season until November, and then nor'easters can start to form as early as September and go until April. Thank you so much for joining me for Next Weather. We will see you tomorrow.